संस्थापकं वीरम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। संस्कृति का वैभव जग में सबसे न्यारा,
जय भारत माँ जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ जय गीता माँ।
भारतीय संस्कृति का वैभव जग में सबसे न्यारा, ज्ञान और विज्ञान यहीं से सबने पाया सारा, सबने पाया सारा। कुछ भूलों से हारा फिर से जीते देश हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ जय गीता माँ।
शील सेवा व्रतधारी युवा जगे पुरुषार्थी,
जय भारत माँ जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ जय गीता माँ।
त्यागशील सेवा व्रतधारी युवा जगे पुरुषार्थी, वैज्ञानिकता विनय सभ्यता स्वभाव हो निस्वार्थी, स्वभाव हो निस्वार्थी। देशभक्ति में तेजस्वी हो फिर समाज यह सारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ जय गीता माँ।
चंदन है इस देश की माटी,
चंदन है इस देश की माटी, तपोभूमि हर गाँव है, हर माला देवी की प्रतिमा, बच्चा बच्चा राम है, बच्चा बच्चा राम है। चंदन है इस देश की माटी, राधा कल्याणी है।
ध्यान और तप की गाथाएं,
ध्यान और तप की गाथाएं,
कवि की वाणी,
आदि कवि की वाणी है।
गंगा जलसा,
जहाँ का गंगा जलसा,
गंगा जलसा,
गंगा जलसा,
निर्मल है अविराम है,
निर्मल है अविराम है।
हर बाला देवी की प्रतिमा,
हर बाला देवी की प्रतिमा,
बच्चा बच्चा राम है,
बच्चा बच्चा राम है।
चंदन है इस देश की माटी,
चंदन है इस देश की माटी,
तपोभूमि हर ग्राम है,
तपोभूमि हर ग्राम है।
हर बाला देवी की प्रतिमा,
हर बाला देवी की प्रतिमा,
बच्चा बच्चा राम है,
बच्चा बच्चा राम है।
बच्चा बच्चा राम,
बच्चा बच्चा राम है।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल। नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल। नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल। नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल। नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल। नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल। नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि बोल।
नारायण हरि बोल। ठाकुर हमरे रमण बिहारी, हम है रमण बिहारी के। रमण बिहारी के ठाकुर हमरे रे रमण बिहारी, हम है रमण बिहारी के। ठाकुर हमरे रमण बिहारी, हम है रमण बिहारी के। साधु सेवा धर्म हमारा, साधु सेवा धर्म हमारा, साधु सेवा धर्म हमारा, साधु सेवा धर्म हमारा। कामन दुनियादारी से, कामन दुनियादारी से, कामन दुनियादारी से, कामन दुनियादारी से।
ठाकुर हमारे रमण बिहारी, हम है रमण बिहारी की।
ठाकुर हमारे रमण बिहारी, हम है रमण बिहारी के।
ठाकुर हमारे रमण बिहारी, हम है रमण बिहारी की।
ठाकुर हमारे रमण बिहारी, हम है रमण बिहारी के।
साधु सेवा धर्म हमारा,
साधु सेवा धर्म हमारा,
साधु सेवा धर्म हमारा।
साधु सेवा धर्म हमारा।
कामन दुनियादारी से,
कामन दुनियादारी से,
कामन दुनियादारी से।
कामन दुनियादारी से।
ठाकुर हमारे रमण बिहारी, हम है रमण बिहारी के।
ठाकुर हमारे रमण बिहारी, हम है रमण बिहारी के।
ठाकुर हमारे रमण बिहारी, हम है रमण बिहारी के।
ठाकुर हमारे रमण बिहारी, हम है रमण बिहारी के।
ठाकुर हमारे रमण बिहारी, हम है रमण बिहारी के।
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज, निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारि। बरनउ रघुबर बिमल जसु, जो दायक फलचारि। बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके, सुमिरौ पवन कुमार। बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर। राम दूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी। कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा। हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन। विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर। प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा। भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे। लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए। रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही सम भाई। सहस बदन तुमरो जस गावै अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै। सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा। जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते। तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा। तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना। जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानू। प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाहि। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होतन आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे। सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन तेज सम्हारो आपै तीनों लोक हाकते कापै। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवै महावीर जब नाम सुनावै। नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावै मन क्रम बचन ध्यान जो लावै। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावै सोई अमित जीवन फल पावै। चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असबर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटई मिटई सब पीरा जो सुमिरै हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूटहि बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय।
स्थापकं वीरम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्।
कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरये परमात्मने प्रणतक्लेशनाशाय क्लेशनाश गो नमः
Didi, your voice is breaking.
all assembled we praise all. Yes, I you're able to hear me.
It is breaking, Didi. It's coming on and
Is
off.
it audible?
Now it is. Please continue.
Okay. Yeah, now it's okay, I feel. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. My respectful pranams to Param Pujya Swami Shri Govindev Giriji Maharaj, the founder of this great organization, the Geeta Pariwar, and the brain behind this world-class online Geeta learning platform. We have all assembled here on this Zoom platform to commence a wonderful Vivechan session, an event where every aspect is graced with auspiciousness, positivity, and the blessings of divinity. On behalf of Geeta Parivar, myself, JVSM Lakshmi from Mumbai, I'm privileged to invite you all to this evening session. Today, we are all here for the Vivechan of the final part of the 13th Adhyaya, the Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. In this chapter, Jagadguru Sri Krishna explains the concept of yoga through distinguishing the field and the knower of the field, and explains how a person who sees with the eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in material nature, can attain the supreme goal. So with this, before we embark on our journey today, let us begin this glorious occasion with a devotional fervor by offering our prayers to Jagat Guru Sri Krishna. With an ardent devotion and a spirit of faith, let's tune our hearts to the divine frequency, and as we pray, may our minds find peace and our spirits awareness. For today's prayer, I welcome Dr. M.T. Manjunathji, a retired senior level government officer from Bengaluru, who is associated with Geeta Parivar from August 2021 and is now a trainer in L4. So, Bhayaji, please proceed with the prayer.
Jai Shri Krishna. Vasudevasutam devam Kausachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishno Vande Jagadgurum Krishno Vande Jagadgurum. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that melodious prayer. With this inspiration and blessings of Sri Krishna, now let's move to the next segment of our program and brighten this auspicious occasion by offering our prayers to Ma Saraswati and conduct our customary lighting of the ceremonial lamp, Deep Prajwalan, as a tribute to Ma Saraswati, the embodiment of knowledge. Now it's time for a Deep Prajwalan, and today we have Srimati Mangala Vaniji from Betawad. Didi is a homemaker and joined Geeta Parivar in February 21. Didi is a co-trainer in Geeta Parivar and is now offering her seva in L4 batch. So let's start the Deep Prajwalan, please.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैरिन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम् शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृताम् कलहंसकृतावासां वरदां शारदां नुमः।
Thank you, Didi, for such a captivating prajwalan of devotion and faith. The melodies fill the air not just with melodious music, but with a sense of divinity and tranquility. So before we proceed forward, kindly, it's a small request, kindly share this the link of this Vivechan Satra, which you will be enjoying to your friends and relatives and acquaintances so that they can be benefited by this kind of wonderful Vivechans every week. So now let's proceed with the main part of today's program. We are all set to enjoy the spiritual movements and now move on to the most awaited part, the Vivechan by our respected senior trainer, Shri VikasJi Vaidya Bhaiya. VikasJi Bhaiya, a mechanical engineer with a postgraduate diploma in business management, is settled in Pune and owns a small IT company. Bhaiya is an eloquent speaker and his passion in teaching and explaining the shlokas in a very interesting way draws attention of each and every listener. Bhaiya has a great interest in learning new languages, which helped him to master many languages, both Indian and foreign. So Bhaiya does the Sampurna Geeta Pariwar of Geeta Parayan of all the 18 Adhyayas every day, and is also a trainer in Geeta Pariwar for L1 to L4 batches, and is involved in trainers selection, trainers training for L1 to L4, and is also guiding Geeta Vratis to prepare for the Sringeri Peeth Geeta exam. It's my honor and great pleasure and privilege to request you, Bhaiya, to take over and begin this interpretation session of the third part of the 13th Adhyaya. Vikas Bhaiya, please.
जय श्री कृष्ण। वसुदेव सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। जय श्री कृष्ण। परम पूज्य स्वामी जी के चरणों में कोटि कोटि नमन। वी आर डिस्कसिंग क्षेत्र क्षेत्र विभाग योग, 13th अध्याय of Bhagavad Gita. Last time we concluded the discussion with the shlok number 22. Upadrashtanmanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwarah paramatmeti chapyukto dehesmin purusha parah. So how the role of Paramatma keeps on changing in our body depending upon the karma that we do, depending upon our behavior, depending upon our attitude. From Upadrashta to Anumanta to Bharta to Bhokta and ultimately to Maheshwara. So it depends on us. Now to reiterate what I said in the first session of this 13th Adhyay, in my opinion, 13th Adhyay is a very, very important Adhyay. A pivotal chapter of Bhagavad Gita, I would say. It is not that other chapters are not important, but this chapter is incomparable. 13th chapter. The one who understands this chapter comprehensively, it means all the veils, all the pardas, all the veils of delusion have been lifted from his mind. He gets free from ego, he gets free from attachment, he gets free from vasanas, and thus attains the supreme peace. So this is the importance of this adhyay, Kshetra Kshetrada Vibhaga. To continue further our discussions, slok number 13, Paramatma says, Ya evam vetti purusham prakritai cha gunais saha sarvadha vartamanopi nasabhuyo bhijayate. Ya evam vetti param. Ya, if he, sarvanam in Sanskrit, ya means one who evam is thus in this way, Vetti is to understand, Purush, the living entity, Purush, and Prakriti, the nature. Gune, three gunas of Prakriti, Sattva, Rajatamo, Sah, with, Sarvatha, in all ways, Vartaman, situated, or to act, Api, in spite of, No is never, Saha, Sa is again Sarvanam in Sanskrit, he, Bhuya is again, Abhijayate is to take birth. So Paramatma says, he who knows this Purush, he who knows this Prakriti, the nature, together with its modes, Satparajatamo. So he needs to know the Prakriti, yes, as Trigunatmak, Satparajatamo, he needs to know the Purush. Such a person who gains this jnana from this adhyaya, Kshetra Kshetra Vibhagayo, Kshetra is Prakriti, Kshetrajna is Purush. Such a person, though he acts in every way, in whatever state of life he may be in, what is that we will see? Such a person is not born again. Naso abhijayate. So here the term evam, thus, it means that the spirit is different from body. Evam, this. He who knows this difference in reality of body and the spirit will perform his duty according to his caste. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, his creed, whatever he is doing, stage of life, Grihasthashram or Vanaprasthashram or Sannyashram or Brahmacharya, whatever stage he is in of the life or whatever circumstances he is facing. When he keeps this reality in mind while performing all his kartavya karma duties under different stages of life, he is not born again. Why? Because he knows that Prakriti with its evolutes. What are the evolutes of Prakriti? Shariri, Indriya, Man and Buddhi. These are the evolutes of Prakriti. Prakriti has given us this. Shariri, Indriya, Man and Buddhi. The modifications. Which are the modifications? Ichcha, Dvesha, Sukhan, Dukkham, Sangatas, Chetana, Dhruti. These 7 vikar, which we understood in this adhyaya only. So these evolutes of Sharira, Indriya, Man and Buddhi and these 7 vikars of Ichcha, Dvesha, Sukhan, Dukkham, Sangatas, Chetana, Dhruti, we want to understand this and the instruments. What are the instruments? Our senses, our Jnanendriyas and our Karmendriyas, which appears in the form of universal or material world, that means in the Prakriti, is all different than the self, what I really am. So he does not born again, because he knows that the self is not involved in this, either the evolutes, nor modifications, nor instruments. Self is not a part of all this. So such a person who understands this, he is not born again. Because the attachment to the modes of Prakriti is the main reason of rebirth. And once that attachment to Prakriti is broken, is shelved, then he is not born again. Here, Sarvatha Vartamanopi, whatever he does, now whatever he does means he doesn't get freedom to do anything. It does not involve the forbidden karmas. Nishiddha karma not included in Sarvatha Vartamanopi. Because he who knows Prakriti with its modes as different from self, Satparajatamo, can have no desire to gain the unreal. When he has no desire, forbidden actions cannot be performed by him. Isn't it? Because desire is the only cause of performing the forbidden karmas, forbidden actions. So after coming to think of it, how do we take action in our life? How we take action in our life? Everyday decisions of our life based on what we act, our heart, our mind, our intellect, or some other influence. We act under the advice, under the influence of some other people who are a part of Prakriti also, as like us. So how do we act in our day-to-day life? One small story to see how we act in our daily life. There was a sweet shop owner, Ramlal. That Ramlal, he moved from his native village with his family to live in a city. To earn his livelihood, he opened that sweet shop in that city when he shifted from that village. To attract the customers, he hung a slate outside his shop which was written, "Fresh sweets are sold here. Fresh sweets are sold here." Then he sat at the shop waiting for the customers to come and buy the sweets. A passerby stopped at the shop. He looked at the board and he said, "Why have you written fresh? Nobody sells stale sweets, do they?" Ramlal thanked him. Good advice. And erased the word fresh. So the board now read, "Sweets are sold here." The same day, another man came to the shop, looked at the board and nodded his head in disagreement. ठीक नहीं है आपने जो लिखा है. He said to Ramlal, "Is it necessary to write here? The moment anyone sees the sweets, he will understand that the sweets are sold here." Ramlal again thanked him. He said, "Yeah, good advice. Here is not necessary." And he did as that passerby said. He erased the word here. Now the board reads, "Sweets are sold." Sweets are sold. After some time, a teacher of that city's school, he came to the shop. He looked at the board and he said, "Sold? Of course you have got to sell the sweets here. Your sweets are for sale, not for charity. So I say sold." Ramlal thanked him. Good advice. I am not sitting here for charity. I am sitting here for selling. So why should be said so explicitly? So erase that word. Now the board read, "Sweets are sold here" is gone. The board read only "sweets." Now a wise man from the city, he came to the shop and he said, "The smell of the sweets of your shop are coming from half mile from this shop. When I started walking, I started smelling the sweets when I was half mile away from your shop. Is it necessary to write that the sweet shop?" Ramlal again thanked him. If my sweets are so good, then why should I write sweets? Not necessary. He thanked him. The sweets also got erased. In the process, now what hung above on that slate on the shop, nothing was written. Everything is gone. Sweets are sold here, nothing now. Everything blank. The slate is blank. Ramlal again began to wait for customers. Just then his wife came. She asked, "Why this blank slate hanging on our shop? Is this the way to attract the customers?" She said to Ramlal angrily, "Why the slate is blank? You should write something good message here, no? Why did you write on the slate, 'Fresh sweets are sold here'?" That day, Ramlal understood one thing very well, that everyone has a different perspective of seeing and understanding the same thing. We need to use our Viveka Buddhi, our discriminatory power to understand what is right and what is wrong, what should be done and what should not be done. People will keep on giving advices based on their intellect. Also, they are also a part of Prakriti. But we have been given that Viveka Buddhi by Paramatma. We should not use it. So we all have the same senses to see and understand something. But it is not necessary that everyone understands and sees it in the same way. So in short, we should know whether we are using our Viveka Buddhi in every small instance of our day-to-day life. Okay, continue this further. Shlok number 24. Dhyanenatmani pashyanti kechidatmanamaatmana अन्ये सांख्येन योगेन कर्म योगेन चापरे. Dhyanena. Dhyana is meditation. Dhyan. Atmani. Within the self. Atmani. Pashyati is to see. Kechit. Some. Sankhena. By philosophical discussions by Sankhya Yoga. Yogena. The yoga system. Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is Karma Yoga, of course. The action without expecting the return reward. That means Nishkam Karma Yoga. Apare. Apare is others. Atmana, the super soul, Paramatma. Atmana, by self. Anye is others. So Paramatma says, now before we start this discussion, okay, let us continue with this. Some try to perceive the Supreme Soul within their hearts through meditation, and others try to do so through cultivation of knowledge, jnana, while still others strive to attain that realization by the path of action, that is karma yoga, nishkam karma yoga. So different paths are there, variety is offered. Variety is a universal characteristic of God's creation. No two leaves of a tree are alike. No two human beings have exactly the same fingerprints. No two human societies have the same features. Similarly, all souls are unique. They have distinctive traits that have been acquired in their unique journey through the cycle of life and death. Everybody's experience is different. Everybody's karmas are different. So, in the realm of spiritual practice as well, not all are attracted to the same kind of practice. Everybody is not attracted to Jnana Yoga. Everybody is not attracted to Dhyana Yoga. Everybody is not attracted to Karma Yoga. People have different choices, varieties. The beauty of Bhagavad-Gītā and the Vedic scripture in the Sanatana Dharma is that they realize this inherent variety among the human beings. People have different choices. They understand it. Bhagavad-Gītā also understands it. That's why so many yogas have been explained. And they account for it when they are giving instructions to human beings. Here, Shri Krishna explains that some sadhak, that is the spiritual aspirants, find great joy in grappling with mind and bringing it under control. Dhyanenatmani. They are attracted to meditation upon God seated in their heart. They relish the spiritual bliss that they experience when their mind comes to rest upon the Lord within them. This is the objective of Dhyan. When you are on Dhyan, we try to search our own soul, which is the part of Paramatma. So this is Dhyan Yoga. Others find satisfaction in exercising their intellect, Buddhi Yoga, or Jnana Yoga. The idea of the distinction of soul and body, soul and mind, soul and intellect and ego excites them greatly. They want to distinguish soul and the body, mind, intellect and ego. They relish cultivating knowledge about the entities, soul, God and Maya, these three entities, soul, God and Maya of Paramatma. So through their knowledge, they want to focus on these three things, through Jnana Yoga, through Buddhi Yoga, soul, God and Maya. And how do they do it? Through the process of Shravan, Manan, Nididhyas, that's means hearing, contemplation and internalizing with firm faith. So this is their process of Jnana Yogis, Buddhi Yogis. Yet others find their spirits soaring when they engage in the meaningful action, karma. They strive their God-given abilities in working for Him, for the God. Nothing satisfies them more than using the last drop of their energy in serving the God. So much firm belief in Nishkam Karma Yoga. In this way, all kinds of sadhak use their individual propensities to realize the Supreme. Some by Dhyana Yoga, some by Jnana Yoga, some by Karma Yoga, different people. The fulfillment of any endeavors involving knowledge, jnana, action, karma or love, bhakti, is when it is combined with devotion. Devotion is a must. Without devotion, Paramatma does not accept anything. Whether you follow Jnana Yoga or Karma Yoga or any yoga, devotion is a must. And the devotion is for pleasure of the God. Bhagavad says, Savidya Tanmatiriyaya. True knowledge is that which helps us develop love for God. That is true knowledge. The fulfillment of karma occurs when it is done for the pleasure of the God. That is called true karma. In Gita, many shlokas offer independently the means of God realization by meditation, by Dhyana Yoga and by Karma Yoga. We have done Adhyaya 6th. In Adhyaya 6th, Sankalpa Prabhavan Kamans Tyakva Sarvana Sheshatah Manasevendriyagramam Viniyamya Samantataha. This is what the 6th Adhyaya says. Completely renouncing all desires arising from the thoughts of world. It is the world which creates desires in us, no? One should restrain the senses from all sides with the mind. To disconnect with the material world, cut down all kamanas. This is what the 6th Adhyaya says. About Jnana Yoga, 2nd Adhyaya. Yam hina vyathayante te purusham purusharshavo samadukha sugandhiram somrutatvaya kalpate. That person who is not affected by happiness or distress, he is equipoised in happiness and distress and remains steady in both, he becomes eligible for liberation. So this is what the Jnana Yoga teaches us in Bhagavad Gita. Karma Yoga, Vihaya kamanya sarvan pumao sharati nispruha nirmamo nirahankara sashanti mati gacchati. That person who gives up all desires and lives freely from a sense of greed, proprietorship, kartatva bhiman, and egoism. He is free of greed, he is free of the self of doership, sense of doership, and ego. He attains perfect peace. So Bhagavad Gita is open. You can choose whichever way you want to choose. Dhyana Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, whatever. Choice is yours. Okay, with this greatness of Bhagavad Gita, let us continue with slok number 25. Anyetveva majananta shrutvanyebhya upasate tepi chatidarantyevo mrityam shruti-parayanaha. Anye, some other people. But is ivam, thus. Ajananta, without spiritual knowledge, they don't know. Shrutva, by hearing. Anyebhya, from others. Upasate, begin to worship. Upasate, to do upasana. Te means they. Api, also. Atitaranti, they also translate. They also cross over. Mrityam, the path of death. Shruti-parayanaha, inclined in the process of only hearing. Shrutva, Shruti-parayanaha. So this is also the path followed by some people. No, everybody cannot be Jnani. Everybody cannot follow Karma Yoga. Everybody cannot follow Dhyana Yoga. Isn't it? Poor people who cannot read also, how can they follow any of this path? You need to read something. Isn't it? So there are still others who are unaware of these spiritual paths, Paramatma says. But they hear from others. Shrutva, Shruti-parayanaha. They hear from others and begin worshipping the Supreme Lord based on what they hear from the Jnanis. They are not Jnanis, they are not Karma Yogis, they are not Dhyana Yogis, but at least everybody has given the ears by Paramatma. Everybody has been given the mind, intellect, buddhi. With that, they listen to the experts, they listen to the Swamis and Yogis, and then they start worshipping based on what they hear and what they believe. By such devotion to hearing from other saints, Swamis, they too can gradually cross over the ocean of birth and death. See, only hearing can make such a big difference. So we are not interested in reading, we are not interested in contemplating, we are not interested in anything of this. At least we can hear, we can listen to the experts. Open the YouTube and listen to the all lectures of Swamiji's. At least that much we can do. To change our attitude, to change our behavior, to bring Gita in our day-to-day life, as Swamiji says. So Shrutva also is of great help, Paramatma says in this shlok. Now those who are unaware of the methods of sadhanas, by somehow they acquire the knowledge through others and get drawn onto the spiritual path. In fact, this is usually the case with most people who come to spirituality. First they hear somebody, first they listen to somebody, and then they get attracted to it. Isn't it? They do not have any formal education in spiritual knowledge. But somehow or the other, they get the opportunity to hear or read about it. Those who cannot read, at least they hear about it. Then their interest in the devotion to the Lord develops. And they begin their journey on the path of spirituality just by hearing. In Vedic tradition, hearing from saints has been highly emphasized as a powerful tool for spiritual evolution. That's why we attend so many kirtan, pravachan, parayana. Because at least something is coming on our ears and it ignites our mind and intellect to think what is exactly the thing and how to go ahead on this path of spirituality. So hearing has been emphasized as a very powerful tool of spiritual evolution. In Śrīmad-Bhagavad, King Parikshit, he asks Shukadeva the question, how can we purify the undesirable entities in our heart? Our heart has many impure entities, right? The lust, the anger, the greed, the envy, and the hatred. Shukadeva replied, Parikshita, simply hear the description of divine names, forms, pastimes, virtues, abodes, and associates of God from ascent. This will naturally cleanse the heart of unwanted dirt of endless lifetimes. So hearing is such a powerful thing. When we hear from the proper source, we develop authentic knowledge of spirituality. Besides this, the deep faith of the saint from whom we hear begins to flow in us. Hearing from saints is the easiest way of building our faith in spiritual truth. As I said, listen to Pujya Swamiji's discourse on YouTube in the morning for 40-50 minutes and you will remain immersed in the sattvic mood for the whole of your day. Further, the enthusiasm for devotion, it provides the force that enables the sadhak to shrug aside the inertia of material consciousness and cut through the obstacles on the path of sadhana, because he starts disliking material desires. Because now he is enthusiastic about the devotion. Enthusiasm and faith in the heart are the foundation stones, man ka utsaha and shraddha. These are the stones on which the palace of devotion stands. So this is how the devotion is very, very important. A small story about devotion. You will say, I'm telling you many stories, but I can't stop it. Okay, fine. So small story, what is bhakti and what is devotional prayer? A person saw in his dream that he has arrived in the paradise. On reaching the divine atmosphere there, he gets immersed in pleasant surprise. What a place, paradise. His heart fills with incomparable joy on seeing the serene atmosphere and the beautiful view that surrounds him. Just then, he sees that God himself comes and welcomes him in that paradise. This is all dream, of course. And accompanies him to see around the heavenly world. While traveling around heaven with the God, this fellow, the Lord shows him the special places, also telling him their importance. Then he comes and stops near a grand and beautiful room in that paradise and says, this is a magical room. From this room, you can see everything that is going on in the earth world. Come, let us see what is happening on the earth right now in your village. What is happening? It was a pleasant Sunday morning. The skies were slightly sunny. The whole temple was packed with people coming for prayer, with more and more people coming in every passing minute. Everyone was praying for the God. The songs were sung by visitors and the musicians were also playing music on harmonium, on tabla, on mridang, flute, etc. People were busy. The fingers were dancing swiftly on the keyboard of that harmonium. The whole scene was visible very clearly like a movie. But the sound of prayers could not be heard. The man got confused. He said to the God, I can see everything clearly, but people singing, they are singing songs, musicians are playing the music. I can see them very, very clearly from this room. But I cannot hear the prayers and the sound. It is all mute. Have you put them on mute mode or what? Paramatma said, you are right. Those who do not pray from the heart with devotion, their voices are not heard here in the heaven. So we go to temple, we keep chanting mantras, stotras, bhajans, everything. But so long as devotion is not there, Paramatma says, I am not listening to you. You have no devotion. Prayer is an effective way of communicating, contacting, or building a relationship with the God, provided it has the devotion. The words of prayer should be such as to awaken a feeling in us. Once the emotion is awakened, the words are no longer needed. The devotion does not need words. You can just fold your hands and stand with your emotions of devotion awakened in your mind, in your heart, in your antakaran. Then even if you don't chant anything, it is okay. Paramatma wants that devotion, that bhakti, that faith from you. Okay, having understood the importance of devotion, let us continue with slok number 26. Yavat sanjayate kinchit satvam sthavar jangamam kshetra kshetradya sanyoga tadvidhi bharadarshabha. Yavat is whatever. Sanjayate comes into existence, comes into being. Kinchit, anything. Sattvam, existence. Sthavar, not moving. Jangamam, moving. Kshetra, body. Kshetradya, the knower of body. This we definitely know now. Sanyogat, by union between, sanyog, union between. Tadvidhi, you must know that. Bharatarshava is calling for Arjuna. The Paramatma says, O best of Bharatas, Bharatavarsha, whatever moving or non-moving being you see in existence in this cosmos, in this world, know it to be a combination of the field of activities, kshetra, and the knower of the field, the kshetra. So everything moving and non-moving in this world has come into being, has come into existence due to the union, due to the combination of kshetra and kshetradnya, prakriti and Purusha, body and soul. Shri Krishna uses the word yavat kinchit, meaning whatsoever form of life that exists, regardless of how enormous or how small, infinitesimal it may be, all are born of the union of kshetradnya, the knower of the field, and the kshetra, the field of activities. Some traditions accept the existence of soul in humans, but do not accept that in other forms of life also, they also have souls. They see human beings have souls. But other species, they don't have soul. This horse and dog and what is moving on the road, pigs, do they have soul? They don't have soul. Only human beings have soul. This is what some people believe. This concept condones violence towards other life forms. They say nothing wrong in killing other life forms, because they don't have soul. Only human beings have soul. However, Vedic philosophy stresses that whatever consciousness exists, there must be presence of the soul. Without soul, there can be no consciousness. So other species which are conscious, they also have soul. We all know that in early 20th century, Sir Jagdish Chandra Bose, he established through experiments that even plants, which are non-moving life forms, can feel and respond to the emotions. His experiments proved that soothing music can enhance the growth of plant. He proved it with experiments. When a hunter shoots a bird sitting on the tree, the vibrations on the tree seem to indicate that the tree weeps for that bird. When he fires a bullet or an arrow, the tree also shivers. The bird has been killed. Why tree is shivering? The tree is also weeping. It indicates. And when a loving gardener enters the garden, the tree feels joyous. The changes in the vibrations of the tree reveal that it also possesses consciousness and also experience the existence of emotions. These modern observations corroborate Shri Krishna's statement that all life forms possess consciousness. They are the combination of eternal soul, which is the source of consciousness, and the body, which is made of insentient material energy by Prakriti. Body is given by Prakriti. But the soul comes from the Paramatma. Okay, have you understood this particular concept that every consciousness has to have a soul? Paramatma says further, Svam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatse vinashyante yah pashyati sa pashyati. Samam is equally. Sarveshu, in all. Bhuteshu, all living entities. Tishtantam, residing. Parameshwaram, Parameshwar is Parameshwar, Paramatma. Vinashyatsu, in the destructible, Vinashyatsu. Avinashyatam, not destroyed. Here is one who Pashyanti. Pashyanti is to see or to experience. Anubhuti lina. Saha, he Pashyati. He sees. So Paramatma says, they alone truly see who perceive Paramatma, the super soul, accompanying the soul in all beings. So our soul is accompanied by Param Soul, Supreme Soul, Paramatma, and who understand both to be imperishable in this perishable body. Soul is imperishable, Param Soul, Supreme Soul is imperishable. Those who realize this, those who understand this, those who perceive this, Pashyati, that the imperishable soul and super soul are existing in this perishable body. They alone see the truth. Yah pashyati sa pashyati. This phrase has come many times. Yah pashyati sa pashyati. Jisne ye jaan liya, usne sab jaan liya. One who perceived this, he has perceived everything. Yah pashyati sa pashyati. In all perishable entities, there is one common element. It is the imperishable tattva. We saw it from the example of tree also. So when we go to sell golden ornaments to a goldsmith, he sees only at the main element of that ornament. That is the gold. He is not bothered what kind of ornament is this. He is weighing only for gold, how much gold it has. He evaluates only the gold, only that. Similarly, in all perishable entities, the Jnani looks only for that imperishable God. He is not interested in other things of that perishable thing, imperishable thing. He is looking for that imperishable God in everything that is conscious. Whether he is watching the sea, or whether he is seeing the tree, or whether he is observing human beings, he wants to see God. When we get birth, a new novel starts in our life. Our life is like a novel. Every rebirth is a new chapter in our novel. And the novel gets completed only when the soul gets merged in the Supreme Soul, Moksha. Till that time, this novel of innumerable chapters continues with as many births as we take. Every birth is a new chapter in this novel. And the novel will get completed only when we attain Paramatma, we attain Moksha. That is the end of the story. That is the end of novel. Shri Krishna had said earlier in Adhyaya 5, Yat Sangye Prapyate Sthanam Tadyogairvigammate Ekam Sankhyancha Yogancha Yah Pashyati Sa Pashyati. Again, Yah Pashyati Sa Pashyati. The expression Yah Pashyati Sa Pashyati, they alone truly see who see that. Now he is saying this again here in this shloka. Yah Pashyati Sa Pashyati. That it is not enough to see the presence of soul within the body. Sabko pata hai that there is a soul in my body. At least people who have basic knowledge of spirituality, everybody knows that there is a soul and there is a body, and there is a soul in my body. Okay, fine. But that is not enough. Shri Krishna says, we must also appreciate that God, the Supreme Soul, is also situated in all bodies. His presence in the heart of all living beings was earlier said in the shlok 23, I think, of this adhyay. Ki evam vetti purusham prakritaincha gunai saha Sarvatha Vartamanopi, like that. We read that slok today only. So it is stated in other shlokas of Gita, many places. In 10th Adhyaya, for example, 20th slok says, Amatma Gudakesha Sarva Bhutashaya Sthitaha Amadishcha Madhyancha Bhutanamanta Evacha. I am situated in all living beings, Paramatma said. I am there in the beginning, in the middle, and at the end of those bhutas, those living entities. So this has been said and explained in many adhyayas. In 18th adhyaya also it has been said. When we study 18th adhyaya, we'll study that also. In our other Vedic scripture also, it says God is one. He resides in the hearts of all living beings. He is omnipresent. He is the supreme soul of all souls. This is what the Upanishads say. Bhagavatam says, God is seated inside all living beings at the witness and as the master. Ramayana says, Rama Brahma Chinmaya Abhinasi Sarva Rahita Sab Aura Pura Basi. Meaning, the Supreme Lord Ram is eternal and beyond everything. He resides in the hearts of all living entities. So this is the belief our Sanatana Dharma has. Our Upanishads, our Vedas, our Ramayanas, our Mahabharata, our Gita, everything scripture has confirmed this, that God is established in all living entities. The Supreme Soul accompanies the individual soul as it journeys from body to body in the cycle of birth and death. When our soul goes, the super soul also accompanies our soul and goes to that body which that soul occupies, based on its karma's balance sheet. In the next shloka, now Shri Krishna will explain how realizing the presence of God in everyone changes the life of that sadhak. How does it change? That is explained in slok number 28. Let us go to slok 28. Slok number 28. It says, Samam Pashan hi sarvatra sabhavasthitamishwaram nahinasthatmanatmanan tato yati parangatim. Samam is same, equally. Pashan is seeing. Sarvatra, everywhere. Samabhavastham, equally situated. Ishwaram, the super soul, Paramatma. Hinasti, to degrade, to kill. Atmana, goes by himself. Atmanam, self, the soul. Tata, then Yati is to reach. Param, supreme, transcendental. Gatim, the destination. So Paramatma says, those who see God as the supreme soul equally present everywhere. And in all living beings, they do not degrade themselves by their mind. They do not kill themselves. What does it mean? That we'll see. Thereby they reach the supreme destination. See, the mind is pleasure seeking by nature. Everybody's mind needs pleasure. And for that only, we keep fulfilling our desires, saying that this fulfillment of desire will give me the pleasure. And that is the main attraction of our mind, to seek pleasure. And is a product of material energy. It is spontaneously inclined towards the material pleasures. We are part of Prakriti. Mind has been given by Prakriti. So the Prakriti's segment, Prakriti's faction gets attracted to Prakriti. No wonder in that. But similarly, the soul is a fragment of God. Does the soul get attracted to God in every case? No. Soul unfortunately gets attracted to the body, and the body gets attracted to the Prakriti of which it is a part. The soul gets distracted. Mind does not get distracted. Mind knows that I am a part of Prakriti, so I will go back to Prakriti. I will go to the material attractions of Prakriti. Soul does not realize this. He attaches himself with the body, and the body goes to the material attractions. If we follow the inclination of our mind, we become degraded deeper and deeper in material consciousness. Then fulfillment of desires remains the only business of our life. But has the life been given for only this, for fulfillment of desires, material desires? Shariri, Indriya, Man and Buddhi, this has been given by Prakriti to us only for this purpose. The soul has no existence. Soul has no purpose of life. The way to prevent this downslide is to keep the mind in check with the help of intellect. For this, the intellect needs to be improved and purified with the true knowledge. Only knowledge can improve the intellect, and that purified intellect can only guide the mind what it should think and what it should not. Because ultimately the mind gives instructions to the senses. Knowledge, intellect, mind, and then senses. Those who learn to see God as the Supreme Soul present in all beings, they begin to live by this knowledge. That is the real life. Since the intellect is now purified with this knowledge and has acquired this true knowledge, their mind no longer seeks the personal gains or enjoyment in their relationship with others. Without this knowledge, whatever you have in your mind when you open dialogue, when you communicate with others, the first thought that comes to our mind, how can I extract something from him? What help this fellow can give me? Isn't it? So that evaporates once we get the knowledge. They neither get attached to the others for the good done by them, nor hate them for any harm caused by them. They remain equipoised. Rather, seeing everyone as a part of God, they maintain a healthy attitude of respect and service to the others. By serving others, they think I am serving the God. This is the feeling that comes when they start seeing God in everybody. They naturally refrain then from cheating, from mistreating or insulting others. Because by doing so, I am insulting the God, I am mistreating the God, I am cheating the God. That feeling comes in their mind first. When they perceive in others the same God which is there in them. In addition, the man-made distinctions of nationality, of caste, of gender, of status, or the skin of our color, wo kala hai, main gora hoon, all that. This becomes irrelevant when we attain this jnana. In this way, they elevate their mind by seeing the God in all living beings and finally reach the Supreme. Because equanimity is the cardinal principle of Bhagavad-Gītā. Samatmayi yoga uchyate. This slok we have listened, studied in second adhyaya. When you attain that samatva, which is an attribute of God himself, we attain God, we attain Paramatma. The purpose of reading Bhagavad-Gītā is to know the messages of God, the qualities, the attributes of God, and try to copy them to the extent possible in our day-to-day behavior. To go closer and closer to the God. Merely reading Bhagavad-Gītā and closing the book will not take us close to the God. We need to understand what God wants from us. If God is saying that you should remain equipoised in Sukha, Dukkha, favorable and unfavorable, we have to cultivate that in our day-to-day behavior and see if we can do it, we can follow it. If we follow it, God likes it. Then we go closer to the God because God has that same attribute of equanimity towards all. If we attain that God's attribute in us, God says, this fellow is useful here. He is copying my attributes. He wants to come close to me. So this is the purpose of reading any shlok or any adhyaya Bhagavad-Gītā. Okay, having done that, let us go to shlok number 29. Prakrite vaja karmani kriyamānāni sarvashaha yah pashyati tadatmānam kartāram sa pashyati. Prakrite karmānāni kriyamānāni sarvashaha yah pashyati tadatmānam kartāram sa pashyati. Paramatma says, Prakriti means by Prakriti, by nature, material nature. Eva, certainly, karmani, activities, the karmas. Kriyamanani. Kriyamana is to perform, performance of karma. Sarvasha, in all respects. Pashyati, to see. Tatha, also Atmanam, himself. Akartaram, the non-doer. Saha, he, pashyati, to see it correctly, to see it truthfully, to see it perfectly. So Paramatma says, they alone see the truth who understand that all actions of the body are performed by the material nature, by the Prakriti, while the embodied soul actually does nothing. Our sharir, indriya, man and buddhi and our senses is all given by Prakriti. So whatever this body is doing is done by Prakriti, is performed by Prakriti. The soul is not doing it. Soul is a non-doer, a kartaram. Soul is inactive. It does not do anything. But his presence in the body is necessary for the body to act. If there is no soul in the body cannot act. So his presence is necessary, but it does not do anything. Whatever is done by the body. All types of karmas are done by the body under the influence of Prakriti. One who understands this, he understands the truth. All karmas are nothing but a play of different gunas of Prakriti. Satpa, Rajotamo. Sometimes we are dominated by Sattva guna, so we do all Sattvic karma. The mood changes to the Rajasi, we start doing Rajasi karma. Then it changes to maybe Tamasi, we start doing some Tamasi karma. Again come back to Sattvic. Or a mix of all this. Soul has nothing to do with it. This is between the body and the Prakriti. Soul is aloof, non-actor. See, the auditorium where we go to see the stage plays, that auditorium has nothing to do with which drama is getting enacted on that stage. Auditorium is it interested in knowing what drama is going on? Maybe some dance program is going on, some stage plays are going on, some lecture is going on. Many things keep going on in the auditorium. The auditorium has nothing to do with it. It does not interfere and do nothing. Auditorium does not do anything. Hey, stop the dance. Does it say like that? No. A play is going on the stage. The director is behind the screen, in the wing. He cannot be even seen, the director of the stage play, Natak. All artists, however, are busy displaying different emotions. We see in the stage play, every character is displaying his emotions of love, attachment, hatred, laughter, shringar, fear, etc. When the play is over, the auditorium becomes empty and silent. It becomes avyakta. All these dancers, actors had made it vyakta. Now it is empty, silent. So it has become avyakta. But still it retains itself in that form of auditorium. Does it also go with the artist? No. It remains intact in its avyakta form. Whether the play is going on or not, the auditorium remains unaffected. On the stage of this world, similar plays are getting enacted. Countless of plays are getting enacted. The Prakriti in the form of director is not seen on the stage. It is nirvikar, unattached Prakriti. Prakriti keeps directing vast varieties of plays at the same time. But the stage of the world has nothing to do with this. The clouds are superbly active in the sky, rapidly running from here to there. We see in the wind, in the monsoon also. The sky has nothing to do with this movement of clouds. It is still and stable. Similarly, soul is still and stable. It has nothing to do with this activity. Only the presence of soul causes Prakriti's game of action. Presence of soul causes that body to act. Soul itself does nothing. One who understands this is a jnani. Bhagavad Gita states that the ego of being the body and the pride of being the doer, it traps the soul in the samsara of life and death. This is what the Bhagavad says. In material consciousness, the ego makes us identify with the body. Thus, we attribute the actions of the body to the soul and think, I am doing it. I am doing that. But the enlightened soul perceives that while eating, drinking, talking, walking, or doing any other activity, it is only the body that acts. Yet, even if we say that it is only the body that acts and soul has nothing to do with this, it cannot shrug the responsibility of actions performed by the body. We cannot run away from the fact that soul is existing in the body. So it cannot run away from the actions performed by body. Just as the president of a country is responsible for the decision of country going to the war, although he does not fight himself in the war, he is instructing his White House and instructing, do bombing of this country, do bombing of that country. Go, soldiers, go, Air Force, go. He is not going there directly, is he? Similarly, the soul getting identified with the body is held responsible for the actions of a living entity, even though they are performed by body, mind, and intellect. This is why the spiritual aspirant should keep both the sides in mind. That though the soul does not do anything, but the soul also does not stop, no? So in a way, he is also a criminal, soul also. He is not stopping the body from acting some bad karmas. Maharshi Vashishta instructed Rama in Ramayana, Karta Bahira, Kartana Taraka Loke Vihara Raghava. It means simply, Rama, while working externally, exert yourself as if the results depend on you. Similarly, for us also the message is, while performing our kartavya karma, we should execute it with full sincerity, with full dedication, thinking that the result of this karma is depending on me. But internally, realize yourself to be the non-doer. So this is how the life should go on. Externally, something different. Internally, self-awareness that I am not the doer. The feeling that I am not the doer may slightly reduce our efforts. But that's why it is said by Maharshi Vashishta to Sri Ram also, that while working externally, exert yourself as if the results are depending on you. But internally, realize that yourself is not the doer. Okay, having understood this concept, let us go to slok number 30. यदा भूत पृथक भाव एकस्तमनु पश्यति तत एव च विस्तारं ब्रह्म संपद्यते तदा. Paramatma says, yada, yada means when, yada and tada, bhuta, the living entities, pruthak bhavam, separated entities, ekasyam, situated in one prakriti, one nature, one Paramatma, anupashyati, tries to see, tata eva, thereafter, vistaram, the expansion, Brahma, Parabrahma, absolute, sampadyate, he attains, tada, at that time, yada and tada. So Paramatma says, when a man of wisdom, that means the Jnani, he sees the wide variety of beings as abiding in the singular God. Yada bhuta prathak bhava, mekas prathak bhave, prathak bhave. Wide variety of beings. Ekastam manupashyati. They are situated, they are abiding in the singular God. When he sees the vast expansion of this world as being established in one God, at that moment he attains the supreme Parabrahma. Because at that time he realizes Vasudevam Sarveti. There is nothing other than God. The ocean modifies itself in many forms, such as the waves, the froth that comes on the sea water, the tide, the ripples, many other things in the sea life, no? One who is shown these individually for the first time, he may conclude, though wrongly, that they are all different. Waves are different, froth is different, ripples are different. But one who has the knowledge of the ocean, he sees the inherent in all these varieties. That is all same. Similarly, there are numerous forms of life existence, from the tiniest amoeba to the most powerful celestial demigods. All of them are rooted in the same reality, the soul, which is a part of God, seated in the body. So amoeba also has a soul, and those demigods in the Swargaloka also have got soul. They are also part of God, seated in the body, which is made from the material energy, the Prakriti. Everybody is living life taking the body as given to it by the Prakriti. The distinction among the forms are not due to the soul, but due to different bodies manifested by the Prakriti. What is the difference between a dog and us? His body is different, our body is different. But we also have soul and he also has a soul. Upon birth, the bodies of living beings are created from the material energy, that is from the Prakriti, and at death, their bodies again merge into the same material nature in the same Prakriti. When we see the variety of living beings all rooted in the same Prakriti, we experience the unity in diversity. And since material energy, the Prakriti, is the energy of God, God created Prakriti, isn't it? Such an understanding makes us to see the same thing, same spiritual substratum base pervading all existences. Experiencer of this knowledge is led to Brahma realization. Who sees God in everyone, who sees soul and super soul in everyone, who knows that everything is given to us by Prakriti. So all of us are coming from the same source of Prakriti, and all of us have the same soul which God has given us. These two things, when he understands very well, he attains Brahma-jnana, Brahma realization. But the ignorant one focuses on the form, whereas the Jnani focuses on the essence of the form, the core substratum, the core base of the form. And he finds no difference at the level of core essence in all entities. All entities have the soul. I am also having the soul. Everybody is having the soul. He finds no difference at the level of core essence in all living entities. Vidyayune sampanne brahmane gavyastini shunichaiva shvapakecha pandita samadarshana. This is what we have learned in 5th Adhyaya. An humble Brahmin, Vidyayune sampanne, brahmane, gavi, guy, cow, hastini, elephant, Vidyayune sampanne, brahmane, gavi, hastini, elephant, chandal. Vidyayune sampanne, brahmane, gavyastini, gavishecha shvapakecha. Shvapake chandal, who hangs people on in the jail. That fellow is Chandal. Pandita Samadarshana. Pandita looks at them in equanimity. Everybody is having a soul, everybody is having a super soul in them. Who am I to distinguish between them? That he is better than I am inferior, or I am inferior and he is better. All are same for him. Samam Pashyani. So he finds no difference at the level of core essence in all living entities. A Jnani person. Thus he says, who should I call good or bad? Who should I regard as friend or foe? Who should I regard as mine and not mine? When it is the one Lord in all of them, why should I distinguish them? Moreover, all that exists is because of God. We have no right to be judgmental about any part of his creation. On seeing a sinful man, a disciple of his Swamiji once commented, this evil man does not deserve to be alive. He should die. He is such a nasty fellow that he does not deserve to be alive. He should die. Swamiji retorted, saying that, who are you to say that he should die? One who has been given life by the God, he belongs to God. It is God's wish that he stays alive. You do not have any right to be judgmental about God's creation. All that exists is because of God. So this is how we see God everywhere. Swam pashyati sarvatra swam sthitam ishvaram. All that. Yada bhuta patak bhavam ekastaman pashyati tata evacha vistam brahma sampadhyate tada. Next shloka 31. Anaditva nirgunatvat paramatmayam avyayah sharirastho vikaunteyo nakaroti na lipyate. Wonderful. Paramatma says further, anaditva. Anaditva. Due to eternal birthlessness, nirgunatvat, due to being devoid of gunas, devoid of 3 gunas of Prakriti, Sat, Rajatamo, Gunati, that means avyaya, inexhaustible. Paramatma, Paramatma Swarup, it is Paramatma himself. Anaditvat, nirgunatvat, avyaya is Paramatma only. Sharirastha api, even though it is dwelling, residing in the body, Kaunteya is calling for Arjuna, na karoti does not do anything. Na lipyate, does not get entangled. So Paramatma says, the Supreme Soul is imperishable, without beginning, and devoid of any material qualities. Because it does not come from Prakriti. Son of Kunti, although situated in this perishable body, it neither acts nor is tainted by the Prakriti. It is Super Soul, Paramatma. The entire game of this phenomenal world is the game of Prakriti. God has nothing to do with the functioning of the Prakriti. Once the main program has been written as to how this Srishti Chakra will work, Paramatma does not interfere thereafter. Paramatma created Brahmadeva, Brahmadeva created the constitution of Prakriti. According to that, Prakriti is working. The developer has written a main program, the functioning of the company is going on as per that main program. Nobody can change it. That is why don't ever complain. God, why you did that? God, why you did not do that? Never complain. God does not do anything. Actions is the purview of Prakriti, and it functions as per its own norms. It has its own intelligence, Prakriti. Moreover, it has been working in this fashion and will continue to do so eternally. Not that today is worse and tomorrow it will not. It is working like this eternally, and it will continue to work like this only eternally. Furthermore, the Parabrahma, Paramatma, is attributeless. You cannot attach a label, Satvik, Rajasi, Tamasi. It is attributeless and will continue to be so eternally. So Prakriti is eternal, Paramatma is eternal. So these two eternal things keep on working eternally. However, Prakriti cannot function in absence of Paramatma. Prakriti needs the Purusha for its functioning. But what happens is that this very Prakriti that needs the substratum, the base of Purusha for its working, it envelops and conceals that same Purusha and does not allow us to see that Purusha. We see the plant vines climbing up on the wall such that they end up covering the entire wall that supports that same plant vines, isn't it? So you do not see the wall at all, which has supported that. Similarly, Prakriti originates. Prakriti spreads because of underpinning support of Parabrahma, but ends up masking the same Purusha. Clothes cover up our body such that the clothes are seen and not the body. Likewise, Prakriti is seen but not the Purusha. But Prakriti cannot taint the Purusha because Prakriti is not permanent. It keeps on changing. The world is changing every day and it's changeable. But Purusha is eternal and immutable. That's why however climbing that whale can do on the that wall, it cannot taint the Purusha. God situated within the heart of living beings as the Supreme Soul. It never identifies with the body. Soul does, Super Soul does not. Nor is affected by by its existence. His presence in the material body does not make him material in any way. Like the soul gets attached to the body, Super Soul does not get attached to the body. Nor is he subject to law of karma. Law of karma does not apply to that Super Soul in our body. The cycle of birth death does not apply to it, though these are experienced by the soul. So this is the difference between the soul and Super Soul that exists in our body. Continue with slok number 32. Yatha sarvagatam saukshmyadakashanopalipyate sarvatravastito dehi tathatma nopalipyate. Yatha as sarvagatam. Sarvagatam is all pervading, all occupying. Saukshmyat, due to being very, very subtle. Akasham, the sky. Upalipyate, mixes to get tinted. Sarvatra, everywhere. Avasthitam, situated. Tatha, so. Yatha and tatha. Yada and tatha, thus yatha and tatha. Atma, the self. No, never. Upalipyate, to get tinted, to get mixed, not to get noticeable. So Paramatma says, space, that means the sky, the sky holds everything within it. But being very subtle does not get contaminated by what it holds. Similarly, though its consciousness pervades the body, the soul is not affected by the attributes of the body. Principally, yes. The soul experiences the sleep, the waking, the tiredness, the refreshment, and all other states of the body due to the ego that makes it identify with the body. Otherwise, the soul never sleeps. The soul never wakes up. It is always woken up only. It never gets tired. It does not need refreshment. No other state of body is actually lived by the soul. But due to ego that makes it identify with the body, that's why all these things, the soul thinks, I am doing this. I am sleeping. I am waking. One may ask, why changes in the body in which it resides does not tend the soul? Sri Krishna explains that with the example of space, it holds everything, yet remain unaffected. Because it is subtler than the gross object it holds. The sun eclipse makes us to see as if the sun has been overridden by the moon. But there is no change whatsoever in the sun. Similarly, in the eclipse of Sukha and Dukkha, the soul appears to be overridden, but it remains unattached, it remains alipta. When we add water to mercury we have seen, if you add water to the mercury, does the water enter into mercury and get merged with mercury and become one with mercury? They maintain their separate identity, water and mercury, never gets merged. Similarly, though living in the body, the soul remains unattached, does not mix with the body. Soul is a subtle energy compared to the body. It retains its divinity even while identifying with the material body. It knows I am part of God and body is a part of Prakriti. But because of ego, it gets the feeling that I am the body. Similarly, this continually changing Prakriti, which repeatedly goes through the cycle of creation and destruction, does not exert any effect on the God. Prakriti is changeable. It does not exert any effect on the God. Na lipyate. On the attributeless Parabrahma, the Prakriti does not taint that Parabrahma. There is no change of Parabrahma at all. It remains untainted at all times. So, yatha sarvagatam saukshmayad akasham nopalipyate, sarvatra avastito dehe tathatma nopalipyate. Further, look number 33. 33. Paramatma says, yatha prakashi yatteka krishnam lokamimam ravihi, kshetrang kshetri yatha krishnam prakashayati bharata. Yatha as prakashayati, illuminates. Ekat, one. Krishnam. Krishnam is not Krishna. Krishnam is the whole, the complete. Lokam, universe. Imam, this. Ravi is the sun. Kshetram is the body we know. Kshetri is the soul we know. Tatha, similarly, Krishnam, all. Prakashayati, illuminated. Bharat is calling for Arjuna. So Paramatma says, in earlier slok, Paramatma had said, Sri Krishna had explained that the self is not tainted. That means self is not the enjoyer. In this shloka, Sri Krishna will explain how the self is a non-doer also. In reality, the self is a non-doer. Just as one sun illuminates the entire solar system, so does the individual soul illuminates the entire body with the consciousness. The consciousness in hand, given by soul. The consciousness in ears, given by the soul. So the soul illuminates entire body. Like the sun illuminates the entire solar system, the soul illuminates entire body. Is the word-to-word meaning of this shloka. So yatha prakashayateka krishnam lokamyam ravihi. One sun illuminates the entire solar system and all activities are performed in its light, in the light of sun. But it has no feeling of doership. The sun does not have the feeling of doership, that all these things are happening because of me. A learned person, he studies Bhagavad-Gītā, he studies Upanishad, he studies Vedas in the light of sun. While a hunter, he shoots animals in the same light. But the light is not held responsible. Whether you study Vedas or somebody is killing some bird in the forest or some animal in the forest, light is not held responsible. Kshetrang Ksheti Yatha Kristam Prakashayati Bharata. Like sun, one Kshetrajna, one spirit, it illuminates the entire field, the bodies and all actions performed in the light of spirit, the self, yet the self neither performs the actions nor does it cause them to be performed. And what is body consisting of? We have read in this shloka, this adhyaya only. Bhutanya ahankaro buddhira vyaktameva cha indrani dashaikancha panchajendriya gocharaha. These 24 elements and ichcha devasha sukham dukkham sangatas chetana dhruti etat kshetram samasena savikara buddhartha. So 24 elements and 7 vikar. This is how the kshetra, the body, has been made. Kshetrajna eliminates this body, this gross body, and the other two bodies as well. Which two other bodies we have? The sun eliminates the gross universe only. That means the actions of the universe are performed in the light of sun. While the self, the spirit, it eliminates our gross body, our subtle body, Sukshma Sharir, and our causal body. All the three kinds of body, that is, in its light, all actions of three kinds of bodies are performed. Gross body, subtle body, and causal body. In the performance of physical actions, the physical body, that means gross body, is used. In the reflection and in meditation, the subtle body, the Sukshma Sharir, is used. In trance, the causal body is used. The self eliminates all these three bodies. The Kshetra is this body, but the man is unaware of the inner sun, the soul, which illuminates this body. We see the sun outside, but we don't see the sun inside us, which illuminates this body. Therefore, man is in the dark, involved in the cycle of birth and death, and afflicted by the pair of opposites, dvandva, sukha, dukkha, happy, sadness, favorable, unfavorable, respect, disrespect, man, sanman, everything he gets involved in that. He is not looking inside him. The soul, the spirit that gives this, illuminates his entire body. When he sees the inner light, his darkness will disappear, and the dawn of bliss will descend on him. That is the beginning of Atma Jnana. When we get rid of these dvandvas of sukha, dukkha, happy, sad, and favorable, unfavorable, respect, disrespect, by looking inside, when you realize the soul, the sun inside, which illuminates you, and that is the beginning of dawn of bliss. That is the beginning of Atma Jnana. Okay, let us go to the last sloka of this adhyaya, which is very, very interesting. Kshetra kshetrajna yorevo mantarai jnana chakshusha bhuta prakriti mokshencha ye viduryanti te param. Kshetra, we know it very well now. Kshetra is the body. Kshetrajna is the knower of body, the proprietor of the body. Ivam, thus, andaram, the difference. Jnana chakshusha, by the vision of knowledge. Jnana. Bhuta, of the living entity. Prakriti, the material nature. Moksham, liberation, salvation, moksha. Cha, also. Vidu, vidu is to know. Yanti, yanti is to reach, to approach. They, tem is they. Param, param is the supreme. So Paramatma says, Kshetra kshetrajna yorevo mantane jnana chakshusha bhuta prakriti mokshancha ye vidur yanti te param. Shri Krishna is now winding up the topic of Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Field, that means body. Knower, that means the self. By mentioning the reward of fully grasping the difference between the two. What do we gain when we attain, we obtain, we understand, realize the knowledge given by Krishna in this adhyaya? Paramatma says, those who with their eyes of wisdom, jnana chakshusha, perceive the difference between kshetra, the field, and kshetrajna, the knower of the field, and between prakriti, along with its evolutes. What are the evolutes of prakriti? Ma, bhuta, sharir, indriya, man, buddhi, and then our seven vikas, ichcha, dvesha, sukha, dukkha. So they are the evolutes of prakriti. So one who understands this, and the self, super self, Paramatma. He attains the supreme. So we have to understand the difference between Kshetra and Kshetrajna, between Prakriti and the Purusha, the super self. He attains the supreme. Sri Krishna says, we need Jnana Chakshu, the eyes of wisdom, to know the difference between Kshetra and Kshetrajna. In reality, the material nature, the Prakriti has given the body, and the God given soul are two different things. Body is given by material nature, Prakriti, and the God has given us the soul. These are two different things. But due to ignorance, we consider them as one. Waking in the dark, we cannot see our shadow. When we are walking in the dark, can we see our own shadow? Cannot see in the darkness. Similarly, due to ignorance, which is equivalent to darkness, we cannot see our soul. A rope lying in the dark looks like a snake. It appears like a snake, a simple rope. Similarly, due to the ignorance, the body and the soul appears to be same. But on getting Jnana, we realize that rope is rope and snake is snake. On attaining Jnana, the Dvaita goes off. I am different, Paramatma is different. This Dvaita goes off and Advaita comes in. And our oneness with the super soul gets realized. Kshetra, the difference is to be understood by Jnana Chakshu. The Raja Vidya that we have learned in 9th Adhyay, which God explained in 9th Adhyay, is to be grasped by our Charma Chakshu, the physical material eyes. And for beholding his Virata Roop, we need the Divya Chakshu. So Bhagavad Gita speaks of three Chakshus: Jnana Chakshu, Charma Chakshu, and Divya Chakshu. Shri Krishna enabling Arjuna to attain super Jnana through all these three Chakshus. Arjuna is having all these Chakshus now. He got the Jnana Chakshu, Paramatma has given him now so much of Jnana. Charma Chakshu, of course, he had. And Divya Chakshu also he got when he saw the Virat Roop in 11th Adhyay. The gist is, know who are, what the world is, know who or what the knower of the world is, know the experienced, know the experiencer, know the illuminated, know the illuminator. Furthermore, know the way of getting liberated from Prakriti. So this is the knowledge which we gain from this Adhyay. And the way to open, to gain this Adhyay, gain this knowledge, to open the eyes of wisdom. In the sight of wisdom, you will see that you are always liberated. When you open our sight of wisdom, our Jnana Chakshu, we'll realize that we are already liberated. We are not bondaged. It is a myth that we are under bondage. We'll realize that we are never under bondage. A small story about how we feel about bondage. Once a Arab visited a city and he bought 10-12 camels and was returning to his village. It was getting dark and he thought taking rest in a village. He stopped there near a fakir's place and inquired with the fakir, "Can I stay here for a night, please?" The fakir said, "Yes, of course. This place is big. You can stay here comfortably, no problem." Then the Arab said, "But I have got these 12 camels with me, which I bought in the day today. And I don't have a rope long enough to tie all of them. They may run away in the night." The fakir said, "Don't worry. I will take care of your camels." The Arab thought fakir may have a long rope. But the fakir said, "I don't have any rope here." The fakir just went close to each camel and did the miming action. Bandhne action. Miming. We see many miming movies also. Miming. People do only acting. They don't do anything real. But they do miming of doing something. So that fakir did the miming action of tying the camels one by one. The Arab thought, this fellow knows some black magic or what? That without rope he is binding the camels, tying up the camels. But he was very apprehensive and was intermittently looking from the window of his room throughout the night to see if the camels are still sitting down. He was relieved that not one camel moved from its place. All were sitting quietly at the same place. In the morning, the Arab thanked the fakir and went near the camels, trying to make them get up and walk. But the camels did not move at all. No camel got up. The fakir came to him and he said, "How can they get up? I tied them all, no, in the night. Now I have to untie them. Then only they can get up." So he went close to each camel and again did the act of miming, saying that he is untying them. Only acting, miming. When finished, all camels, he said, "Now you are all free." So all camels got up and started walking. The Arab was highly surprised. He asked Fakir, "What did you do to these camels?" Fakir said, "I did nothing. I created an impression on them that they are tied down and cannot move. They assumed that to be truth. And they kept sitting as if they were really tied down. When I said they are now free, when I did miming action that I'm untying you now, you are all free, they got up and started walking." The relevance of this story to us is that we are all in our real life are tied down with such fictitious ropes of attachment and assume them to be real bondage in our life. They are not bondage. The ropes are fictitious. The attachments are fictitious. But in reality, we are all bondage free. We create our own fictitious ropes and get tied down. Coming back to this shloka, Kshetra Kshetra Deyoreva Mantari Nan Chakshura, Bhuta Prakriti Mokshancha Ye Vidurantite Param. To know the distinction between Kshetra and Kshetrajna means to identify, to see the God, the soul in the body or in the Prakriti, in the nature, and also know them as distinct and apart. How soul and body are different, how Paramatma and Prakriti are different. With this knowledge, the body gets free from bondage, which means free from the fear of death, pain, grief, etc. But to achieve this success can be a lifelong odyssey for us. It's not that you read the Adhyaya today and you again immediately get this Jnana. This can be a lifelong odyssey for us. It depends how much Manan Chintan we do of each shloka of this Adhyaya to really grasp what God has said in this Adhyaya. But nothing can be more rewarding than this. Nothing can be more rewarding than understanding and grasping the knowledge given by God in this Adhyaya. It means the attainment of greatest victory on earth, knowing this Adhyaya. And the eternity hereafter. Attain moksha. In fact, being is essentially divine. Body is not his reality. It is his fetter, a chain that binds him to this material world. But the same body, senses, mind, and intellect, when used for proper use, can get him liberation also. He has got to get rid of I am body feeling by knowing his true self or by identifying with his real self. The way to go for spiritual liberation is Brahma Vidya, which Geeta is teaching us. Every Pushpaka says, Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra. That is God contact. Brahma Vidya is God contact, which only an enlightened Guru can teach. For us, the easiest way to adopt the teaching of Geeta in thought and in action is the way to attain that Brahma Vidya. And if we are successful in this endeavor, we also should get liberated. We also should attain the moksha. Bhagavad Gita helps us to attain the discriminatory knowledge, Viveka Buddhi, which enables us to understand and realize that we are not the material body, we are not this body, physical gross body, we are the soul. We start identifying ourselves with our spiritual nature as souls and the tiny parts of God, tiny parts of that super soul. This leads us to march ahead on the path of spiritual elevation, going up and release from the material nature, release from the Prakriti. And treading on the path of spiritual enlightenment, such persons of wisdom attain their ultimate goal of God realization. They attain that goal. Sri Krishna says, know who or what the Kshetra is, who or what is the Kshetrajna, and then live blissfully. Just gain the knowledge given in this adhyaya and then live blissfully. The one who knows this is known as Tattvajnani. One who understands the knowledge given in this adhyaya is known as Tattvajnani. The one who understands the distinction between Prakriti and Purusha is called Sankhya Yogi. The one who abides on his own real self is known as Dhyana Yogi. And the one who performs karma being established in Dhyana Yoga is known as Karma Yogi. As I said in the beginning and today also in the beginning, that this adhyaya is very, very important. It is not that other adhyayas are not important. Other adhyayas are also important, but this adhyaya is incomparable, really. One who understands this adhyaya and does Manan Chintan of every message of Paramatma in this adhyaya, it means all the veils of ajnan from his mind will be removed forever. He gets free from his ego. He gets free from attachment. He knows what is the body, what is the soul, what is Prakriti, what is Purush, how to distinguish between them, how the body has been formed, what is the role of soul, what is the role of super soul, what is the role of Prakriti, what is the role of Purush. What more you want? This is Brahmadhyan. This is Brahmadhyan. So let us study this adhyaya with full devotion, with full faith, and attain Paramgati, Moksha. This is the end of this adhyaya 13. Thank you so very much for being so patient and listening to all this. Jai Shri Krishna. Now the forum is open for all of you to raise your questions. Thank you so much.
Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya. Thank you so much for endowing this august gathering with your words of wisdom. The clear explanation and elaboration of the concept of the Supreme Soul and the soul with an apt example of the climber and the wall and the material nature of the living beings and clear explanation of which of these is responsible for one's actions, and that the one who identifies the correct cause of actions are the ones who see the ultimate truth and are situated in knowledge. And the one who perceives the presence of Supreme Soul in every living being attains consciousness of the Brahman or the God realization. So these are the points which I have taken from this Vivechan, wonderful Vivechan today. Thank you so much for such a wonderful session. Indeed, it was an enlightening session and to one and all of us here. And that too, it's one of the most important adhyayas of Bhagavad Gita and complicated concepts. So we are all blessed to be here on this pleasant evening and enrich ourselves with this knowledge. So before the session ended, we have already had 5 hand raises for questions. So now, dear sadhaks, it's time for us to interact with our speaker of the day and clear all our doubts. So let us now request our respected VikasJi Bhaiyaji to help us clear all our doubts. Request you all to come forward with your queries and use the hand symbol so that you can be unmuted, and please switch on your videos also. So here we have
Ajay Bhaiya.
yes, one second.
Ajay Bhaiya.
Yes.
Ajay Bhaiya, please.
Ajay Bhaiya, please unmute yourself.
Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya. Today's session was very enlightening, and just like any other session in the past, this has cleared many of our doubts, and I am a regular listener to all your vivechans and have a deep gratitude for explaining everything to us so vividly, so clearly. So in shlok number 33, you were explaining about a causal body. So I could not understand. The physical body and soul I could understand. But what exactly is the causal body and what is its purpose? So I would just like to understand that more.
See, our gross body, as we know, is the gross body, which is form of all our indriyas and senses. Okay.
Yeah.
Our Sukshma Sharir is the body which we carry to the next life. Our gross body doesn't come with us. What comes with us is our Sukshma Sharir, not the gross body. Similarly, our causal, the current Sharir has the balance sheet of all our past karmas. And that also accompanies the next life. And that shows, that decides what kind of life we are going to have in the next life, what kind of body we are going to have. So a balance sheet of karmas of our past lives is contained in this causal, the current Sharir. And that becomes the reason for us to acquire the new body in the new life. That is the purpose of causal Sharir, the current Sharir. So we have gross, subtle, sukshma, and causal, the current Sharir. 3 types of bodies are there. Gross body is of no use. But unfortunately, we fall in love with gross body. We don't realize our sukshma Sharir, we don't realize our causal body, because we don't see them. What we see is our gross body, and we think this is me. In reality, we are our sukshma Sharir, not the gross body. So this adhyaya helps us to understand that we should ignore our gross body and start looking at our sukshma Sharir, our causal body as well. So this is the purpose. And the soul enlightens all 3. We unfortunately concentrate only on the gross body, but the soul, it lights up our subtle and causal body as well.
True.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Bhaiya.
Okay. Next we have Umaji for
Jai Shri Krishna, sir.
Umacharan Didi.
Jai Shri Krishna, sir. Dhanyavadaha. It's also another interesting session, and I'm also listening every week. And one complimentary, my kids, they are saying you are like our Prime Minister Modi ji by looking you every week. So I would like to share it with you. And sir, I have 2 questions, sir. Last week you said that the Paramatma, Upadrashta, he is looking as a witness, and then he is become like a permitter, like approver, then he's become a person who is carrying the Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara. And then you are saying like Paramatma Yedi Chaptikto. So that is the balance I couldn't understand. That is one thing, sir. And 26th shloka I want to know also in detail. Today's 26th shloka. Yavat Sanjayate Kinjit Sattvam. Sattvam Stavara Jankamam. Kshetra Kshetrajna Samyoga Tadvidhi Paradarshaba. So that also, can you please elaborate, sir, little more? 22nd and 26th.
Okay, but before that, have you understood the Upadrashta Anumantaja Bharata Bhakta Maheshwara
The first
Paramatma?
line I have clearly understood, sir. The way you explain it is, I have by-hearted also that one, because that day itself it is registered. So it is very nicely I have understood. That second line, Paramatmedi Chapyukto, Dehesmin Purusha Paraha. That also, can you please elaborate, sir?
Okay. Let us first go to this. Paramatma says in 26th sloka that whatever moving, non-moving, being are there in the existence, to be the combination of field of activities and the knower of the field. That means it comes with the sanyog, with the union of kshetra and kshetrajna. Anything which has a consciousness.
All existence, like which is movable and non-movable, it is coming a combination.
Combination because of union of kshetra and kshetrajna.
That is the soul and the physical.
Whatever form of life exists. Yavat kinchit means whatever form of life exists. That comes regardless of how enormous or how small it is, it comes due to the union of kshetra and kshetrajna. Give the example I was giving about the amoeba. Amoeba is so small you cannot see it through normal eyes. You need a very powerful microscope to see the amoeba. But the amoeba and the celestial gods, say demigods in the Swargaloka, they all have come into existence because of the union of kshetra and kshetrajna. So whatever form of life that exists, yavat kinchit, whatever exists, life form, it comes into existence because of union of kshetra and kshetrajna. This is what Paramatma said in this. So it is not that only human beings come out of the kshetra and kshetrajna. Every living form, whether it is animal or insect or anything, it comes into existence because of union of kshetra and kshetrajna, Prakriti and Purusha. That's the meaning.
Yeah.
Okay. What else you have?
22nd shloka, sir, the second line. Upadrashtanumantacha. 22nd shloka. Upadrashtanumantacha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwaraha Paramatmedi Chapyukto Dehesmin Purusha Paraha.
Dehe Purusha Paraha. So what is your difficulty in this?
Actually, you are giving like word by word, so it is very easy. So he become the person who is enjoying through you, and he become the Ishwara, he himself like the Maheshwara. And the second line also, just I want to know same like the meanings are word by word. Paramatmeti chapyukto.
Within this body also resides the Super Lord. That is what Paramatma says.
Okay.
Okay, if you want to know word by word, Upadrashta. Upadrashta is the overseer, the witnesser, the onlooker. Okay.
Yeah.
Then Anumanta. Anumanta, the one who gives the approval, the one who permits.
Yes.
Bharta is the sustainer who takes care of you. Bhokta is the enjoyer, the experiencer. Maheshwara is the Supreme Lord. That is the topmost. Iti is also Ukta. Ukta is said, Dehe Asmin. Dehe Asmin is this body, in this body. Purusha Paraha. So despite being situated in this body, the Purush remains transcendental and is also known as onlooker, overseer, witnesser, approver, permitter, sustainer, experiencer, enjoyer, and Maheshwara. And the same super soul is also known as Paramatma. That is the meaning. So this is the super soul. Sri Krishna has explained the status of individual soul within our body in this shloka.
Okay.
So it is the position of Paramatma and the different roles that Paramatma plays in our body. Sri Krishna previously mentioned in earlier shlokas, Kshetrade chapim di sarva kshetreshu bharata, kshetra kshetrade your dhyanam, yatta jnanam matam mamo. I am the kshetrade of all bodies. Our soul knows our body, but Paramatma is a super soul. He knows all bodies.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
So he is the super soul of all bodies.
All
When
bodies,
stated
yes.
the individual soul is the knower of only individual body, but when Supreme Soul is there, he is the knower of all infinite bodies in the universe.
Yes.
Okay. So the Supreme Soul, who is located within everyone, also manifests in the personal form. As Lord Vishnu. And the example I was giving you that time was that to imagine how the super soul and soul are there in us, it is very well explained in Upanishads. Upanishads say, give an example, that there are two birds. Two birds are situated in the nest of our body. Nest of our body is our heart.
Yes.
They are soul. That means Jivatma is one bird and super soul, the Paramatma, another bird in our heart. The Jivatma has misunderstood himself to be the body and has its back towards the Paramatma. Two birds are sitting, but the back towards each other. The Jivatma is having his back towards Paramatma. He is not looking at Paramatma, he is looking at the body. And he is enjoying the fruits of body. Body is considered as a tree, and he is enjoying those fruits of the tree. Some fruits are sweet, some are bitter, but he is living happily with those fruits of the body. That means the karma phalas of the karmas done by that body. Considering that I am body. But the moment he looks at Paramatma, he turns his back and looks at Paramatma, then all his worries will perish. And the jnana that we are going to gain in this adhyaya, as well as in elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita, is to turn that Jivatma, turn his back from Paramatma to make it face Paramatma in our heart. The moment he looks at Paramatma in our body, all his worries will go off. All his ignorance will go off. So that is the meaning. That Purusha Para, who is staying in our body, he is there in our body, but we don't realize it. Because our Jivatma is considering the I am body feeling.
We associate with the lower self, our this body mind complex. We are associating rather than the Atma. So that is why we stuck in this one, and we are not trying to locate the Atma. So now we are getting knowledge about the Atma to see.
And then when we start realizing that super soul also exists in us,
yes,
then
but we are not aware.
Then that is the Atma. That is the Atma. When we realize that super soul also exists in us, and instead of having this feeling that I am the body, if we have this feeling that I am the soul, who is a fragment of Paramatma, and me, my soul, Paramatma, super soul, are together in my heart, in my body, then our Way of
Worries, there is
working,
no
our way of
yes.
behavior, our way of attitude changes.
Yes, yes. Correct, sir. Correct. And this sloka also, this is related to the second chapter, sir. 31st sloka, Anaditwan Nirgunatvat. So same second chapter also, Sangikam, that is 18th sloka, it is the same. It is given. Dhanyawad, sir. Jai Shri Krishna. Hari Om. Dhanyawad.
Next, Devyani Didi. Please unmute yourself. Unmute, please.
Jai Shri Krishna, sir.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Your explanation has been very enlightening and
Thank you.
mesmerizing. So many examples and all, it becomes easy for us to understand. Now, I have a question. In the adhyayas which I have studied so far, I find Dehi, Deha, Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Sharira, Atma are all used for body and soul. Now, what I would like to know is whether they are interchangeable or there is a subtle difference in which context to use which terminology. That is my question.
Deha, Dehi. Sharir, Shariri. Okay. Atma and Sharir. So these are all interchangeable. Dehi is Atma. Shariri is Atma.
Yes.
Soul is Atma. So they are interchangeable, but they have been used differently in different adhyayas to make the concept more clear. When Paramatma is discussing about Deha, he uses the terminology as Dehi for explaining the soul. When he is discussing about calling it Sharir, he uses the terminology Shariri. So the meaning is same. Sharir is also Atma, Dehi is also Atma.
Yes.
They are not different. They are not different. So they are
They
the
are all
synonyms.
same and they can be used interchangeably also, I feel.
Yeah, they can be interchangeable also.
Okay. And
They are the synonyms.
this soul, can we call it Chaitana?
Soul what?
Chaitana, can we refer it as Chaitana? Soul.
Yes, soul you can call it Chaitana, but better the Paramatma's existence in our body. See, our body cannot exist without soul. The moment soul leaves the body becomes drop dead. It cannot move, it cannot act, it cannot stand up, it cannot walk, it cannot speak, isn't it? So that is the Chaitana. That is the Chaitana, prana of the body.
That is the divine energy which guides us and makes us do things, sort of.
Yes, it does not do anything. Soul does not do anything. Merely presence of soul makes the body to act. Only presence. Only presence is required.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri.
Next, Devinder Bhaiya.
Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya. Bhaiya, I also have two doubts, both in Shloka 22 and 26. So earlier Didi asked these, but my question is little bit different. So in 22 we are saying Upadrashta, Anumanta cha, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara. So all these four things, Upadrashta, Anumanta, Bharta and Bhokta. So this soul Jivatma is only considering that it is playing these four roles. This is actually not doing these four roles, right? So that's correct or not?
No, it is able to play all these four roles. It depends on how we behave. Based on our response, the Paramatma decides what position he takes in us. If we don't allow anything, then he remains only Upadrashta, only a witness. When we do some sattvic karma, he becomes next Anumanta. He gives approval. Yes, you are doing a good job. Continue it. I am with you. So he becomes the approver. Upadrashta becomes Anumanta, approver. Upadrashta Anumanta is Bhokta. Then when we go further on the ladder, he becomes enjoyer of that with us. He becomes our partner.
So, sir, when it is doing all these things, I mean, it is allowing also Anubanta and it is Bharta also. It is doing Bharat Pushar also, these things also. Then why do we say that it is not doing anything? I mean, it is doing everything, right? So then we say it doesn't do anything.
See, it is only supporting. It's an indirect support. It's not doer. It's an indirect support to our good activities. That is the only role Paramatma plays. It doesn't act. It does not do anything. It does not get entangled in our karmas. It is only an indirect support for our sattvic good activities. Our Viveka Buddhi, our discretionary power, it guides us about what is right and what is wrong. That is in the form of Paramatma in us. Our Viveka Buddhi is the form of Paramatma in us. While doing good or bad, we know really what we are doing is really good or bad. It keeps
Because when we
warning
say
us.
that we should see everybody with samabuddhi, right? We should see that only gunas are working in everybody. Inside
Yeah.
everybody is soul, Paramatma. So we should not distinguish between anybody. That's the dvanda thing, right? Nafrat and all this. Moho, nafrat, ये सब नहीं करना चाहिए हमको. We should consider everybody same. But if inside that soul is directing, then they are not
Soul is not
same.
directing. No. Soul is not directing. Soul, see, it is the body which is acting. Soul is observing. First, it is observing as a upadrashta, as only a witness. It is not speaking anything. It is not talking anything. It is not doing anything. As an example, I give you, we are driving the car, the fellow sitting by our side only. He is not telling us how to drive. He is sitting just by our side on the pillion right seat. He is not driving with us. He is not guiding us. But he is only sitting there, watching us how we are driving. Sometimes, when we are driving on the right path, he may nod his head that yes, what you are doing is right. That becomes the Anumanta. What is going on is right. I like it. It's an indirect way of support. That's not the doer. It's not the doer. It's an indirect way of approval, Anumanta.
Sir, agreed. Physically, sthul sharir is doing, gross body is doing. Okay, it is not doing anything. But if it is directing, then it has the responsibility. I may not be able to understand. I
see,
agree,
gross body.
but yeah.
See, gross body has an independent mind, independent intellect given by the mind is acting under the influence of intellect. Both intellect and mind is given by the Prakriti. It has nothing to do with the soul or the super soul or the God. Okay. So whatever action the body is taking, our senses are taking, our eyes are seeing, our ears are listening, our nose is smelling, is all under the influence of mind. Mind guides the senses. And the intellect guides the mind. Both mind, senses, intellect, everything comes from the Prakriti. So the God does not come in the picture here at all. But the God is observing what the mind and intellect are doing. If they are doing something good, he becomes approver, Anumanta. And slowly when we go up in the ladder, the same soul can become Maheshwara in us. At that time, when we and Paramatma become one, that is the stage of Maheshwara. The purpose of this shloka is that you can decide with your own karmas whether you want to be an ordinary fellow, getting entangled into the cycle of life and death, birth and death, or you want to become God. It is in your hand.
When I combine this shlok with shlok number 20, in shlok number 20, karya karan kartritve hetu prakriti ruchyate, Purusha sukha dukkha nam bhoktritve hetu ruchyate. In this shlok, it is very clear that Prakriti is doing all the kriyas and Purusha is the bhokta.
Purusha has to suffer. Purusha has to suffer. This,
Yeah.
the
But
after
in this
effects of
shlok, then
karma
it
done by
says
the
Purusha is doing upadrashta, anumanta, bharta, bhokta. So I got confused.
So these are all the consequences, no? These are all the consequences. When the karmas are done by body, upadrashta or anumanta or bharta or bhokta or maheshwara, these are the obvious consequences of the karmas that we do. What Purusha is suffering or Purusha is enjoying is all precisely the same stages of upadrashta, anumanta, bharta, bhokta, maheshwara. These are the stages experienced, enjoyed by the Purusha in our body. So the karma is done body and senses. Okay. But these roles of upadrashta, anumanta, bharta, bhokta, maheshwara are to be taken by the Purusha.
Okay,
Because
sir, I will
Purusha is
think more.
considering that I am the body. Purusha is considering that I am the body. So the sufferings of the body, whether it is good or bad, Purusha gets entangled into that. He becomes the cause of sufferer, enjoyer or sufferer, whatever, either reward or punishment. He has to take that. He becomes the reason for taking the punishment or the reward. While the purpose of body is to act, Prakriti. Prakriti does the act. Karma are done by Prakriti. But the after effects of that karma are to be sustained, are to be experienced or enjoyed by the Purusha.
Yeah, that was clear. Shlok 20 was very clear. But then when this shlok came, that Anumanta and Bharta, these two words kind of confused me, that when it is Anumanta also, Bharta also, then okay, sir.
As I said,
Yeah.
the purpose of this shloka is to tell us that it is for us, whether we rise up to the level of Maheshwara by our karmas or we keep remaining at the level of Upadrashta as a witness. Just keep observing silently what is going on in our life and keep getting drifted directionless. If you want to go directionless, then we become only Upadrashta. That is why I said at the end of that shloka that we should do introspection of ourselves and find out what role Paramatma we are allowing to play in our life at the moment. Are we allowing him only to stay as Upadrashta, as a witness only? Or are we elevating his position from Upadrashta to Hanumanta, or to Bharta, or to Bhokta, or ultimately to Maheshwara? So it is our karmas, it is our psyche, it is our intellect, it is our mind which decides what role the super soul is playing in our life, in our body. And these 5 roles which are mentioned in this shloka are precisely the roles which Paramatma plays in our body.
Okay.
And again, it is our karmas which decide what role we are allowing Paramatma to play in us. If we are doing good karma, we can go up to the level of Maheshwara. If we are not doing anything, we don't read Geeta, we don't understand Geeta, we don't do anything, we live only material life, then we are only allowing Paramatma to restrict to the role of Upadrashta. Only witness, no talking. The purpose of this shloka and this adhyaya.
Small question in shlok number 26. So when we are saying sthavar meaning all the fixed living beings or anything? I mean stones also, everything.
Yeah, everything.
Even the non-living things also come under sthavar, or only living things?
Anything moving or non-moving. Moving or non-moving. Sthavar and
Okay,
Jangam.
non-moving is one is trees, which we know have the life. Okay. And non-moving is your mountains also, stones also, right? So those are also coming under sthavar.
Everything comes under Paramatma. Everything comes into existence because of Paramatma, whether it is moving or
I'm
non-moving. Whether it is
because
life or without
those
life.
things are also
Sentient
having
or
kshetrajna.
insentient.
So in living beings, we understand kshetra, kshetrajna, both are there. But in non-living also, we are seeing kshetra, kshetrajna, both are there.
Both are there. Both are there. Nothing in the existence that comes without Kshetra and Kshetrajna union.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you,
next
sir. Yes, sir.
Rajnikant Bhaiya, please
Jai Shri
unmute
Krishna.
yourself.
Jai Shri Krishna, bhai.
Jai Shri Krishna.
I have 2 questions. One question is related to this chapter. That is soul and consciousness is same or it is different? Consciousness is soul or it is different?
Anything that has a consciousness has definitely got a soul. Like we took the example of tree, the tree also cries. It has a consciousness. So that means it has a soul. Nothing can be existing here which has a consciousness but does not have a soul. So anything that is conscious does have a soul. And anything that has a soul, it comes into existence because of the union of Kshetra and Kshetra.
But it is one and same or it is different? It is one and same or it is different? One and same. Soul and consciousness is same thing or it is different thing?
No, it is different, honestly. It is different, not the same. The consciousness comes because of existence of soul. When the soul leaves, the consciousness goes off automatically.
Yes, that's why I'm telling. Without consciousness, life is not there.
The existence of consciousness in us is depending upon the existence of soul. It is the soul which leaves the body. And when the soul leaves the body, the consciousness dies. There is nothing like consciousness remaining in the body when the soul leaves the body.
Yeah.
There, definition wise they are different, but the existence of consciousness depends on the existence of soul. If there is no soul,
Yes.
there is no.
Yes. Without consciousness, nothing is there.
Yeah.
It's just like a dead body. My another
Right.
question is not related to this, but it's a very peculiar question. In this 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita, 14 chapters are only titled as yoga, and these other 4 chapters titled with yoga, vibhuti yoga, bhakti yoga. But these 4 chapters, 13, 14th, and 16th, 17th, Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga, Shraddhatra Vibhaga Yoga. Why this Vibhaga Yoga, and why there is also Jnana Vijnana Yoga, but there is not Vibhaga Yoga.
Because there are two different aspects that have been explained. Vibhag means 2 divisions. One division is Kshetra, another division is Kshetrajna. So that's why there are 2 Vibhag, 2 divisions. Similarly, Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga, Daivi Sampatti and Asuri Sampatti, 2 divisions.
Yes.
So wherever there is a division, the word Vibhag comes.
But Jnana Vijnana Yoga, it is only yoga. Jnana Vijnana is only yoga. Karma Sannyasa, it is only yoga. Jnana
See,
Karma
Vijnana also
Sannyasa,
is
it
a
is
part of
also
Jnana.
yoga.
I agree, but Vijnana also is a part of Jnana only. So that's why it is not different. Vijnana is not different than Jnana. Vijnana is a part of Jnana only. Here there are 2 distinct entities. Kshetra and Kshatriya are 2 entirely different entities. They are 2 different Vibhag. Well, Vijnana is a part of Jnana only. It is a subsection of Jnana. It is not much different than Jnana. Jnana is our Atma Jnana. And Vijnana is our Jnana about the material world. It is also Jnana only. No? So it is not division as such. Well, Kshetra, Daiva, so there are 2 distant, different entities altogether. So there are 2 different divisions, 2 different Vibhag.
This Gunatraya and Shraddhatra, these are also.
Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. There are 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajatamo, 3 divisions are there. That's why in that Adhyaya, if you see 17 Adhyaya, there are different shlokas explaining the Sattvic Vibhag, different shlokas explaining the Rajasi Vibhag, and different shlokas explaining the Tamasi Vibhag. So there are 3 Vibhags in that Adhyaya. Shraddha Traya Vibhag. Traya Vibhag is 3 divisions.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Next, Ajita Kumar Mishra-ji. Please unmute yourself.
Jai Shri Krishna Bhaya.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Very deep gratitude to you for your liberated interpretation. Here with your very well references as well as the story, as well taking your stories. My question here is just like Santa Gyanespari, while reading chapter 9, that is Rajavidya Rajguhya Yoga, taken a samadhi. Similarly, any other santhas who can take samadhi by reading this Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. Is that in any sant who is taking samadhi by reading this is in your knowledge? Mahasamadhi.
No, not in my knowledge.
Just like Gyanespari, Santa Gyanespari, just like saying
Samadhi. Samadhi is a very big thing. You cannot read one Adhyaya and take samadhi. For that, you have to ultimately gain the total truth, ultimate Tattva Jnana you have to understand. And only you can take samadhi. Samadhi is a very big thing. So
No.
Dhaneshwar did not read only Adhyaya.
I want to know, is there any Santa or is there any sannyasi who taken a samadhi by reading this chapter? Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, just like Sant Gyanespari in by just saying is like that. While he reading that Rajavidya Rajguhya Yoga, that is chapter 9, he's taken his samadhi. Similarly, any sant is there whose illustration is there. While reading this chapter, anybody is taken Mahasamadhi?
See, that is what I am trying to tell you. If you are under the impression that Sant Dhaneshwar read Adhyaya 9, Rajavidya Rajguhya Yoga, and he took samadhi, then please remove that misunderstanding from your mind. It is not that one person reads one Adhyaya and takes samadhi. It never happens. It never happens. Sant Dhaneshwar has written Dhaneshwari for all 18 Adhyayas of Bhagavad Gita, not only for 9th Adhyaya. So he was thorough in our entire Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So he was full jnani. Only the person who has attained full jnana, ultimate truth, who has become one with Paramatma, he only is eligible to get samadhi. By reading one chapter or one shloka of Bhagavad Gita, you cannot take samadhi.
No,
The purpose of
no,
this
dear one.
adhyaya, what we read today,
I'm not saying like that. Though he knows every chapter or written a Gyaneshwari, but saying is that while taken his samadhi, in front of his samadhi, there is a open book of chapter 9.
I am not clear what exactly you are asking. But the purpose of this adhyaya, what we have read today, Kshetra Kshetra Vibhaga Yoga, is not to attain samadhi, is to attain moksha. The knowledge of Kshetra and Kshetrajna leads us to the path of moksha. That is the ultimate objective of everyone. Not attaining samadhi, but attaining moksha. That is the ultimate objective. And this knowledge gives us that ultimate objective, param gati of attaining moksha. That is the purpose.
Next we have Sheila-ji. Sheila Didi, please unmute yourself.
Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya Didi. Didi, I am asking about sloka number 31, first and second Anaditva Nirgunatvat Paramatma Mabhya, and 32 also first two.
What do you want to ask about it?
Anaditva Nirgunatvat Paramatma Mabhya. Please explain it again.
Okay, you want to read again the shloka?
Anaditvat Ditva Nirgunatvat Paramatma Mabhya. 31, first two charan.
Okay, we'll read the shloka again and try to see what exactly is your doubt.
Yes, sir.
Paramatma Yumvaya Shirvasavi Konteya na Kroti na Lipyate.
Yes.
God says in this shloka that the Supreme Soul is imperishable.
Yes, sir.
Without beginning and is devoid of any material qualities. Sattva Rajatamo. Although situated within the body, it neither acts nor is tainted by the Prakriti. Anaditva Nirgunatvat. Nirgunatvat is, it has no gunas. You cannot put a label to soul, that soul is Sattvic, soul is Rajasic, soul is Tamas. You can't put a label to it. Similarly, it is eternal. It was there before we got the body. It is there when we have the body, and it will continue to exist when we have to shed off this body after a few years. So it is eternal. It is eternal and gunatit. It has no gunas. That is the meaning. So the entire game of this phenomenal world, material world, is the game of Prakriti. Soul has nothing to do with this. Soul is neither having gunas nor it is having limited life. It is eternal. God has nothing to do with the functioning of the Prakriti. That is why I said we should never complain about the God, about God's creation. Why God has done this, why God has not done that. God does not do anything. It is the Prakriti does that. Action is the purview of Prakriti and it functions for its own norms, its own decisions, its own rules, regulations. It has its own intelligence, Prakriti. But Prakriti function in absence of Parabrahma. So Purusha is a must for Prakriti to function. But Prakriti, what it does is, it overshadows the Purusha. That is why we don't realize the soul, the super soul in us, because our super soul is getting overshadowed by the Prakriti, three gunas of Prakriti. All the time we are busy in dancing to the tune of Prakriti, Sattva Rajatamo, Sattva Rajatamo, Sattva Rajatamo, till the end of our life. We keep getting entangled in these karmas and the consequent karma phalas of these three types of karmas, Sattva, Rajatamo. We don't penetrate and we don't break this maya of Prakriti to reach up to that Purusha. Because Purusha has been overshadowed by the Prakriti and the three gunas of Prakriti. So that is the meaning of this shloka. That the example I gave was about the plant vines climbing on the wall. It covers the wall. We don't see the wall. We get entangled with that plant vines only. Similarly, we don't reach up to the super soul, the Purusha within us. We get entangled in the outside cover of material energy only, in the Prakriti only.
Sir, Prakriti include Triguni Maya also, no?
Yeah, Prakriti is Trigunatmak, no? Prakriti is Trigunatmak. It has these three attributes of Sat, Purusha, Tamo.
Yes, sir.
That is why our
So,
mood keeps on changing. Based on Prakriti's direction, our mood keeps on changing. Sometimes we are Sattvic, sometimes Sattvic, Rajasi, sometimes Tamasic. So we keep dancing to the tune of Prakriti.
Yes, sir. Also Purush, sir. What is the Purush we can say? Purush.
Purush is the super soul in us. Purush is the super soul in us. Who does
Sir,
not
Almighty.
get entangled. Who does not get entangled. But he gets overshadowed by the Prakriti. And that's why we don't reach the Purush. We don't penetrate the Maya of Prakriti. Prakriti itself is the Maya of Paramatma. We don't penetrate through that Prakriti, through that Maya. Because unless you penetrate the Maya, you cannot reach the Purush. You cannot reach the Paramatma.
So next is the 32 sloka. How is sky is so sukshma, sir? Yatha sarvagatak sukshma akasan nopalipyate.
See, Sukshma in the sense that when the clouds cover the sky, does the sky get disturbed because of clouds getting covering? Sky has nothing to do with that. It remains aloof. It has nothing to do with the clouds coming and going. So, like it remains unbondaged because of clouds coming and going. Similarly, the soul, it does not remain bondaged because of the karmas. It is aloof like the sky. But it gets bondage because it starts feeling that I am the body. That is the reason of this adhyaya, to remove that feeling of I am the body. The moment we remove that feeling and we experience that I am not the body but I am the soul, it is a fragment of Paramatma, then only this bondage will evaporate. Otherwise we get bondage. If you are the body, then face the consequences of karma done by the body. But if you realize that I am not the body, then you are not the doer. And if you are not the doer, then you don't have to face the consequences. So we have to firmly establish in our mind, not only by reading, but by experiencing it, that I am the soul, I am not the body. The body may fall sick, body may get old, body may die also. But soul never falls sick, soul never gets old, soul never dies. So this conviction we have to have day in and out, every moment of our life. And when we realize this, that I am the soul, then we are bondage free. As I gave the example of those camels and that Arab and that fakir, we are always bondage free. We have created this unnecessarily bondage on our own. These are our own creations, bondages.
Sir, once explain Updrashta and Anumanta. Short explanation, sir. Updrashta and Anumanta. What is the Updrashta?
Upadrashta is the witness. The one who only observes, does not comment anything, does not say anything. He is a mute witness. Upadrashta. Anumanta is one who gives approval, permission. Okay, do it. Good job. We are doing normal living of life. Paramatma is just watching. The day you joined Gita Pariwar and started reading Bhagavad-Gītā or Vishnu Sahasranam and you started contemplating on Bhagavad-Gītā, Paramatma changes his role from Upadrashta to Anumanta. Yes, Didi, what you are doing is perfect. I am with you. I permit you. I allow you. I am permitter. I am Anumanta. You go further up on the ladder, Paramatma become Bhokta. He starts enjoying your Gita classes with you. He is sitting with you when you are reading Gita. He becomes your partner. He becomes your caretaker, Bharta. And ultimately, he becomes Maheshwara. When you start doing good job for everybody in the society, not for you, but for others and for the God, then he becomes Maheshwara. Examples we have given many times. Any job done for the God or any job done for others, not for the self, is the job which Paramatma expects us to do. When we elevate ourselves to that role, we are elevating Paramatma in us to the level of Maheshwara. Because that is the job of Paramatma we are doing. So when Paramatma's attribute, we are copying ourselves in our day-to-day behavior, we become close to Paramatma. We are elevating our position to Maheshwara. And that is what the purpose is. That we should elevate the Paramatma in us from Upadrashta to Hanumanta to Bharta to Bhakta to Maheshwara. And it is our karmas which will decide what role Paramatma is playing in our life. Whether we are allowing him to only remain as a witness or whether we are allowing him to go up to Maheshwara. Our karmas will decide what role Paramatma will play in us, in our life.
Sir, thank you so much, sir. Sir, we are laymen in front of you,
Gauri.
sir.
No, not like that.
Gauri Ravindra Mahajan Didi, please unmute yourself and ask your question. You have to unmute yourself, Didi. You have to unmute yourself. Yes. Again, you are muted.
I have unmuted.
Please unmute yourself.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Yes. Now you are audible.
Good evening. It was a very interesting session, and the questions were equally interesting. I have a small question, which is slightly contradictory. I'm referring to the chessboard. I used to play chess with my father, and if there was any wrong move, he would sing Vinashakale Viparita Buddhi.
Yeah.
The chess coins on the chessboard are treated like soldiers and human beings. So if they're about to lose, so they would move in the wrong position absent-mindedly or something. So he would sing that Vinashakale Viparita Buddhi.
Yeah, one wrong move will take you to defeat.
Yes. So I just want to know, does that quotation have any relation to these Geeta shlokas where people, absent-minded people may go wrong in their moves?
Yes. Many shlokas of Bhagavad Gita will show you the mirror. If you do this, you will win. If you do this, you will lose. What you want to do is your own business. So Gita is showing us the mirror.
Yes.
It is showing us what is Vinashkal, what is Viparit Buddhi. It is showing us the mirror.
Yes.
But it is not forcing us to act in a particular way. It is giving us the freedom.
Yes.
Showing the mirror is the job Shri Krishna is doing in Gita. But the freedom of work, whether we want to go his way or we want to find our own way, is left to us.
When you were teaching also, I remembered my father, who would always play chess with me, and he would correct us also. I spent a lot of time in my school days with my father.
Oh, okay.
He
So
would
you are
either,
good.
when he would go on a tour, he would give me some novel or some book to read. And after he would come back from the tour, he would ask me for a feedback or a review of what I had read. So I really enjoyed the childhood
Very nice.
days.
Very good. Any other questions?
Well, there are a couple more. Do we have time? I wanted to ask you.
Yes. KRM Rao Bhaiya. We have two more hand raised. I think Ajita Kumar, we have finished.
Or should we take in the next session if the time is too good?
Yeah, let's take one more and then we can continue.
Take one. Okay, Sunil.
Jai Shri Krishna Guruji.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Sir, I have one small doubt. In this Aparajita Stotram, Yadevi Sarva Bhuteshu Vishnumayati Siddhita. Next stanza it is Chatanetya Vidhiyate. I think it is related to Kshatreshu. Is it like that? Vishnumaya is Prakriti and Chatanatva is Purusha. Is it correct?
You will find this relevance in so many of our spiritual literature. Kshetra and Kshetrajna, Purusha and Prakriti. So this relevance you will find in many of the Adhyatmic literature in our Sanatana Dharma.
Thank you.
This concept has been used at many places.
I think with this, we'll be winding off the question answer session. Thank you so much, Bhaiya, for those wonderful answers and to all those wonderful, curious questions. So we had a great time listening to all your answers. Now for the Thanksgiving Prarthana and to offer our sincere prayers at the lotus feet of Paramatma, I invite Srimati Renu Rai Ji from Varanasi. Didi is a homemaker with good interest in gardening. In Geeta Pariwar, Renuji has offered Seva as TA, GC and also served in adding and calling department. Didi, request you to please start the prayer.
Jai Shri Krishna. Yogesham Satchidanandam Vasudevam Prajapriyam Dharma Samsthapakam Veeram Krishna Vande Jagadgurum Shri Krishna Vande Jagadgurum. Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna. So, we have all enjoyed this wonderful session, Vivachan session. So once again, requesting you all to share the links with all your dear ones so that they also can get benefited by this kind of Vivachans in future. So expressing gratitude is the highest form of thought and undoubtedly gives a lot of happiness. So let me take this opportunity on behalf of Geeta Pariwar and sincerely thank our host for today's session, Sunil Dhud Bhaiya and everyone involved in the technical team and the whole of the backend team in making this session a memorable one to all of us. Our heartfelt gratitude to all our Geeta Sadhaks for attending this session and making it a great success. Before we sign off, request you all to join in the group chanting of Hanuman Chalisa.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारि बरनउ रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र ध्वजा विराजय कांधे मुंज जनेऊ साजय शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सिंहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही समभाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावै अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र योजन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर पल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाहि दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपै तीनों लोक हाकते कापै भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवै महावीर जब नाम सुनावै नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावै मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावै सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावै सोई अमित जीवन फल पावै चारों जुग प्रताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नो निधि के दाता असबर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावै जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावै अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटई मिटई सब पीरा जो सुमिरई हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई करी कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर गोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़ हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय।
See you all in another enlightening session, same time next week. Until then, take care. Jai Shri Krishna.